What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to PlayStation Generation episode
Everybody.
38.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Back to
Yeah.
back.
All right, PlayStation Generation is
Look at my
back.
bowl cut. Hey.
Yeah, I was about to say I was letting it go,
Look
man. But like,
Look at your bow cut. Look at that
Super
bow.
hat hair today.
that's the
Oh.
most Fu Manchu hair I've ever
man.
seen on you in my life.
It's like
Honestly,
it's bad
you
today.
get the Raiden hat, and you could be
Yeah.
like in Mortal Kombat for sure.
That's the
Dude.
Rice Boy icon.
I remember one time I used to have this like barber that I used to like love going to. My parents like, you need to get a haircut, and I was like, they are not available. I'm not going. I was young, and then they were like, okay, we're taking you to First Choice. We're going camping for the weekend. You're not going to be
Ooh.
running around, but we're taking you in the neighborhood First Choice. I'm like, this never goes well. I had long hair at the time, and it was this older woman, and she's like, how much do you want to cut? I'm like, I literally just want a bit of a trim. She cut me like, imagine what Rice's is, but like half an inch shorter. It was.
Oh, she gave you the
atrocious.
cesarean?
I
Like the Caesar cut from back in the day.
I was
Actually, Matt doesn't even know what that is. Do you remember that? You remember that, right?
I know exactly what that is.
Yeah,
like the Roman Empire.
No, so it was very popular. What was the movie? Because
Spice World.
Brad Pitt did it and George Clooney did it.
Spice
It was
World.
no. It was the very first Ocean's 11. Was it the first Ocean's 11 when he
Yes.
had it? Yeah, it was. So they did like this shorter cut where I did it too. I got the cut. Like it didn't look good on me with my jaw. It looked really bad.
Yeah, you need to. You
But
need
your
to stay-
jaw is beautiful.
Yeah, you got to stay in that Captain America haircut wheelhouse. Like
True,
anything
true,
outside
true,
of that
true,
is
true,
just
true.
gets
Steve
just gets
Rogers.
really- Steve
So
Rogers.
hold on.
Mm.
Spoiler. So you only need 6 cards, yet you still haven't added me and Matt as friends.
That's actually, you know what? I feel called out, and I deserve that.
Dude,
That's okay.
trading is about to start, and
Yeah.
you might be able to get those 6 cards from us.
You're
Mhm,
absolutely right. Yep.
mhm.
I've been too focused on my relationship with my wife, got her on the app, and
So you got your wife on the app just so that you can get the
I
cards?
did.
Yeah, you did.
Listen, bro's got to do what bro's got to do. But welcome back to PlayStation Generation, the show where we talk Pokemon.
Hey,
card
trading
game.
comes on the 29th. We get new cards on the 29th plus trading.
Nice.
Whoa. Fingers crossed. That's the direction things seem to be heading.
No, that's the data mining. It's been pulled.
I know.
I watched the video on it. It's
Pull
real.
True.
Pull it. Maybe they'll announce the Switch 2 on the same day. My name's
Never.
Matt. I'll be your host for today's events. I'm joined, as always, by the Cheeto King himself, Mr. Court Lalonde. What's up, Court?
Keto. Dude, I don't eat those anymore. That's very bad for you.
I don't know why. That's just, I don't know what happened, but you know, I think you remind me a little bit of that Cheetos mascot. What's his name? It's not Tony the Tiger.
Chester
It's the other
Cheater?
tiger. Chester
Chester.
Cheetah.
Mm.
He had a
Cheetah?
video game once, didn't he? Did he
don't
not
know,
have a
maybe.
Super Nintendo game?
That's
I
old. That's
know
before
that
my
I've
time.
played like a
Hold on.
browser,
I think
probably an
Chester Cheetah
E-Bombs
had a video
World game.
E-Bombs World. That is a
Yeah, that's a throwback.
throwback, bro. Oh my god, I have not thought about E-Bombs World in some time. Also joining us is the
Hold on,
PlayStation
hold on.
Hokage himself, Mr.
Chester
Rice.
Cheetah, Super Nintendo, complete gameplay.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Deep cuts. What up, Matt? Good to be
Right.
here. What up, Court? Look at you beautiful people. Always good to be here.
It was
How's the
always,
boy doing?
I'm doing all right, man. How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good.
How
you know,
you how you doing?
got my decaf. Got
Mhm.
my you've got this.
You do.
I don't know
got
why
Yeah,
it.
but once you put, is it decaf black or is it decaf like with
Decaf
sugar?
black.
Okay,
Decaf
because once you put the sugar in it, you might as well just make it caffeine.
Yeah, I'm cutting a lot of sugar.
Oh, good
And-
for you, buddy.
I have to do the
Yeah,
same thing.
it's been
1
look,
week
my-
since you looked at me.
my my relationship with sugar needs to change, and that is these are good things. These are good changes.
Something to help you with that.
Mm,
Switch to dark chocolate
okay,
because it's
Yep.
got no sugar, right?
that's right.
So then you at least can have that as your
that true?
your sweetness. It is a little bit
Mm.
bitter, but you'll get.
Mhm.
It sounds weird. You get used to it. It's
You'll
like when
get
you
the fix though.
yeah,
Dude,
you
I
get the
love dark
fix.
chocolate. The problem is
Mm.
I end up eating the whole bar in one go. I love dark
Oh,
chocolate.
so you know what I get? I get the Lindors.
Mhm.
So I go buy them and I get like a bag of Lindors and I just have one.
Yeah,
Mm,
see,
mhm.
Court, I think you have something what we in the business call self-control. Foreign concept to a man
I
like
drank
myself.
half a bottle of scotch on Friday night. And I have no self control.
Well, you know,
Scotch.
time and place. But I feel like that's like an abnormality for you.
It was my buddy's 41st birthday.
Oh, I was
41.
gonna say
Yeah,
41th.
yeah.
41th.
41.
So I
on this
bought
week's
the
show,
bottle and I was like, we'll have one drink each. And then
Yeah, you
1
didn't say
o'clock
how-
later, it was gone.
didn't say how big that one drink was going to be.
Mm.
Yeah, it was
It's
good.
like everybody rocks up with the picture. It just is how it is. On this week's show, we're going to be talking about Xbox games coming to PlayStation even more. We're going to be talking about some new adaptations coming out of the PlayStation stable. So stay tuned, get locked, and prepare thyself for a week full of fun. But before we do all that, Court, my dude, what you been playing?
It's more like what Matt knows what about. It's more like what I don't want to play anymore. So
Touche.
I am still playing Star Wars. So I finished the main story in Star Wars. I
Outlaws,
think the
nice.
game's good.
That game is
Yeah.
good.
I like
Oh, yeah.
Outlaws. I think I know I'm not in the, I know not a lot of, I think that's almost like controversial to say. And I said this to Matt. I think after the update, I think the game is better.
Yeah,
Right.
you said on the show too.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said how much better it is.
Especially the gunfight. But I really like the story. I actually really like the ending of it.
Nice.
I thought
I think it's a solid 7 out of 10. Like it's good. It's just it's a
which
good
is
time.
which is
like I said,
enjoyable,
with the
right?
updates, it's an 8.
Okay, good.
Right.
I'm glad.
That's
I
awesome.
am doing the Lando. My only, I hate
You
Sabak.
do that, Lando.
So like, it's annoying the living daylights out of me. I'm not gonna get the platinum. I think once I finish this, I'm gonna stop because I tried another game, and then I messaged Matt, and I hate that game. And
MLB the show.
well, I told you I'm not gonna play that this year.
I don't believe you.
Right.
No, I won't. No game that makes me have to come back. I deleted the Division off my console. I don't want to have a daily game. I don't need that. I want to just be
Interesting.
able to hop in, play, and hop out.
I support you, but I don't believe you.
Yeah, fair.
Ah.
Well, remember MLB the Show caused like physical injury.
But when that code hits your inbox, there's no way you're gonna be like, you know what? I'm good. Go on.
Anyways, so I tried Suicide Squad. That
Okay.
game is terrible.
Oh man.
It's really bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's real. Like I am a Batman fan, and
Yes.
I really want to get to the story, but that gameplay, the loop is so bad.
Right.
Like it's real bad. I messaged Matt. I put about a half hour, 45 minutes into it. I said to Matt, I just finished story on Star Wars. I'm gonna hop into this. I messaged Matt an hour later. I was like, I am never playing that game again. I don't care. And you know what? Spoiler, to see Batman die. I don't need to see it. I've read it in the comics like 15 other times when
you can just pull up
way better story writers did Batman dying.
You can just pull up the video on YouTube if you're really that curious.
Yeah, it's
true.
Bad. I find Harley Quinn's character to be pointless to use. Almost every character except Deadshot, and even when you're using Deadshot, I'm like, oh, I've got to do this like shield breaker to do this other. There's so much more. It doesn't feel like a comic book game.
No.
It feels like a shooter.
And interesting.
And not in a good way. It feels like something. It doesn't even know what it wants to be. That's what it feels like. I think that's the best way to describe it.
No identity.
Yeah. I don't understand because you have such great characters from the Suicide Squad, and then you made this terrible game, especially with like this world that has like you're floating, and it's just like, oh, for God's sakes.
I wish, and I know this is like a crimson mark, a scarlet letter on the video game industry, even though despite the fact that I did enjoy the game, I wish they went more Avengers. Like if each one of those characters had a unique combat kit that wasn't just shooting weapons, sure, give Harley Quinn a pistol, give Deadshot a sniper. But why does King Shark have a minigun? Why does Captain Boomerang? Why is his main thing not boomerangs of like different? Give him
he only uses the boomerang for traversal. And can we get back to the traversal? How terrible it is. Like, so many people said the traversal is great in this game. It's so forced because of the level design. They're pigeonholing to make you do traversal when you don't need to. It is a superhero game. If I'm using Deadshot, I should be sitting on top of a building, sniping people, not like up close. That's not Deadshot. Like none of it makes any sense. Harley Quinn is not this character that they put in this. Harley Quinn is a mastermind. She's an evil genius. Not this.
Right.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Watered down.
It's poopy. So I wanted to ask you guys, okay? Because
diarrhea.
We'll get into my game that I was supposed to be playing that got delayed. I have now an opening. Originally, I said to Matt, I'm going to do Suicide Squad. That's an hour later. I sent the text and I'm out.
Okay.
Here are your options. Okay.
Oh, okay. It's a multiple choice. Okay, go on.
Yeah, because I have games in my mind.
We're good.
Right.
Horizon DLC.
Okay.
From the first one, so I haven't done it again. not Burning Shores.
Frozen Wilds.
Frozen Wilds.
Frozen Wilds.
It's okay. The game itself was good, but the game looks beautiful on the PS5 Pro.
Of course.
I can either do the Frozen Wilds because I'm going to finish the Star Wars DLC, but I'll have that done by tomorrow. Or Visions of Mana, hop back into that. Or Red Dead Redemption 2, and I give it another chance.
That's an easy answer for me, bro.
Yeah, that's locked in for me too.
Yeah, Red Dead, bro.
Yeah, it's Red Dead. What I'll say is, what is, we'll get. You know what? Let's round this out, and we'll come back around. We'll continue this conversation. I'm gonna put a pin in it. Rice, my boy, what have you been playing?
Yes, sir. I have been revisiting the Borderlands series.
Okay.
I feel bad for you.
Which one?
Hey, listen, all three.
Ooh, can you just say 2 and 1 and then just don't talk about the third one?
Well, so what I'm doing is I've done like the intro missions for each game. And kind of like, really just comparing it and then taking some really intricate notes as I
analytical.
I feel content coming,
dude. Yeah. So that's what I'm currently kind of diving into, but I'm doing each one very, very carefully because I know what it's about, and I think that I am admittedly personally excited to see what Borderlands 4 has to offer. Maybe that hope is a little bit ambitious, but I can dream, right?
Well, hey, hold on. You can't do worse than 3, right?
Well, to be fair, the way that they're even talking about it, like being like, we don't want to do what we did with 3 if we have this type of joke in it. But like, you know what I mean? Even they seem to want to distance themselves from 3. So maybe there is hope. Maybe there is hope there.
And I think that I'm buying into it a little. Yeah.
Question from the press pool.
Yeah.
Can they go back to the offside jokes from 1 and 2 and people not be offended? Because I don't think they never went after, like, they weren't going after people. They were just some offside jokes.
And in the world that it's in, right? And I thought they were hilarious. I always thought that there was a charm to that sense of humor. Like, it's offside because, like, it's funny because it's offside.
Yeah, it's fart jokes, but like,
but here's my question, because I feel like there's this running narrative nowadays, and I feel like this is across the thing where you can't tell jokes, like offside jokes, anymore. But I think that, like, I feel like a lot of the content that I listen to and watch, there is a lot of off color and offside jokes. The thing is, it's never done in a way that's punching down, which is I feel like where the criticism starts to come in. If the joke is, here's the thing, and that's what it is, that's the joke, then that's just not even funny. But it was Borderlands, and again, I haven't played enough of them to genuinely know. Was it just silly stupidity, or was it punching down before? That's what my question is. And
it's a little of everything, I would say. But Rice,
I think that there's nuance. If you're in a friend group, and they're and jokes are kind of like here. Brock said the jokes were crude but sincere. It felt right for the world. And I think that it was more like if you know, you know.
You know what I'm saying? To do the characters in the game, correct. And like, say that character had a limp, they would lean into making fun of that guy's limp.
Sure.
But I'm okay with that because it's a character in a video game.
Sure. So I think are there people that likely don't enjoy those jokes? Probably. And that's just not a game for them. But I don't think that it is a ha, I'm laughing at you, like, ha, we're laughing together. Does that make sense?
A lot of fart jokes.
Yeah.
And like, there's a gun that like makes some weird noises when you shoot it. That's really funny.
You find loot in toilets.
Yes, a lot. It's a lot of poo-poo humor.
But again, nothing wrong with it if it's funny. Sure. It's just like, as long as it's not mean.
I'm very interested to know how it's taken now that society, well, I shouldn't say society, but politically everything is leaning a different way right now. So I have a funny feeling, this is just my opinion, some developers are going to take that extra step and maybe push the envelope a little bit to see if they can get away with it now.
Probably.
Yeah.
But they're not doing it maliciously. They're doing it to be funny again, because there's a lot of comedy that we all watch that we probably go back. Like, my daughter's watching Full House right now. Loving it, by the way. But some of the jokes in it, I'm like, damn, this is Full House and it's way offside.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Jesse is a terrible person. But like it's Full House.
Yeah, that one didn't age well.
No, he does not age well at all.
Yeah.
Like I also they did a whole episode about talking about how SA. There's no kids that listen to this. And if your kids listen to this, stop listening to this right now, please. I'm giving you a couple seconds. There's a whole episode about how Santa isn't real, so I had to like fast forward it.
That is not where I thought you were going with
that.
Oh
my god!
Though, like...
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
I love that.
I was trying to be more PG today. Remember, Matt?
So much worse.
I'm being PG now. But yeah, Jesse is. There's a whole episode about Jesse, like his whole "Have Mercy" catchphrase. When you go back to it, you're like, geez, have mercy, don't do that anymore.
Yeah. And I think here, like humor can be used as a vehicle to actually like inform people, right? And so I think when done tastefully, there is, you know, this kind of beautiful side of that art form, and I think it's done well in Borderlands. You know,
I feel like we just wrote a video for him.
But there we go. But yeah, that's what I'm playing.
Nice. I am playing stuff I can't talk about. So pin a pin in that. We'll come back to that in the future. But
let's special.
I am special. Let's swing back around to Court's thing, because we're actually going to pull in our very first news story. And that's why I wanted to put a pin in it, to bring this up and then come back around to it in a way that we can talk about it further.
Okay.
Coming from VGC, written by Andy Robinson, Ubisoft has delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows again to quote-unquote incorporate player feedback. Ubisoft has decided to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows a further month in order to incorporate more player feedback into the launch game. It's announced. Previously dated for last November to February 2025, it has now been further delayed to March 20th. In a statement, Ubisoft said the additional development time would allow it to quote-unquote better incorporate the player feedback gathered over the past 3 months and help create the best conditions for launch by continuing to engage closely with the increasingly positive Assassin's Creed community. So there you go, kicking the can further down the road. Let's react to this, and then we'll swing back around to Court's gameplay, because I have that's why I have questions. Court, how are we feeling about the delay?
I am never the get mad at delays. Totally understand them. I also understand the magnitude and the pressure that this game has to succeed.
Yes.
Their last game that did was Mirage, and they put out a lot of games that, you know, X Defiant, I had fun with it for a bit, and then I fell off. I was like, well, there's other games that are pretty much the same, and and you know, Skull and Bones, we knew that game just wasn't my thing. I know someone, Broxer, he's in the chat right now. He loved it.
Yeah,
that's fine. Just wasn't for me. I finished it. I played it. Just wasn't for me. They've had a couple misses. Star Wars was a miss, and I think if they delayed the game, it wouldn't have been a miss, which is unfortunate. So I think they're doing the right thing with Assassin's Creed, because a lot of eyes are going to be on it. And there's a lot of pressure for this game to succeed. The pre-orders are extremely well. Again, I think the game most likely will do well as long as it hits, like from what I've seen, with regards to stealth and with regards to using the 2 different characters and how you can play them, and even if one becomes notoriety, the other one isn't. Like, I really like the way they're going with things based on the dev diaries they've shown. And I love Assassin's Creed, so I'm a little bit of a simp here. I'm okay with it. Disappointed? Yes. But I'm okay with it.
Let me ask you this, because there's obviously, like, you know, there's rumor and there's hearsay going around that this could be more in line with the fact of the behind the scenes sales nature of Ubisoft. They're obviously in talks with Tencent, as has been reported. They want to sell, but, you know, they also want to retain control.
Yeah, they want buybacks.
How much do you think that is impacting this at all? Because I feel like if let's say the game comes out and it reviews poorly, right? And again, whatever happens, let's say it reviews poorly, let's say it doesn't sell well, that's a point in Tencent's favor to be like, well, hold on, let's do XYZ. Alternatively, if it comes out and it's great, then, you know, that's a thing for them. But do you think that this game is just caught in a weird timing that is not even the game's fault? Do you know what I mean?
Yes and no. So I think if the game reviews poorly, that works in Tencent's favor.
Exactly.
Because they're going to buy them anyways. I truly think they messed up with Star Wars, and they don't want to mess up. Now, I was at Ubisoft, and I can tell you there's 2 other games that they didn't tell us, but they had a board there, and I looked at that board. Like I could not look at that board. I'm not going to say the games, but there's 2 other games that I would think one of them is probably either going to get announced and get released either by the fall, which would be crazy to go against Grand Theft Auto, or because of everything. I think those 2 other games that I saw, they are more affected by what we're talking about.
Gotcha.
I think this game is being moved so they don't screw up like they did Star Wars. Star Wars could have been huge. Avatar, unfortunately, in first person, it drove me insane, especially because you're this big, tall character and you couldn't actually. It just, and I get it.
Perspective, yeah.
Third person, you'd have this tall character and it would look terrible. Like they really had no way to do it. I just didn't also like it. I didn't think the game was that good. They can't screw up like they did Star Wars. Star Wars is a huge IP, and they screwed up. They dropped a broken game.
I think history will look back on Outlaws far kinder than I think generally people do right now, because I do think it was a victim of the state that it came out in and some design choices that were made that 100%. Have now been backpedaled. So I feel like you said, like people coming into it now are going to have a much better experience. But Rice, my dude, where are you at on this Shadows delay? How much of this do you think is inside baseball versus just what the game needs?
Yeah, I do agree that the delays, they happen. I'm not one to really question delays or even give too much pushback, other than the fact that, I'm a fan of the franchise and that I want to play it. But if being a fan, you want to have an experience that's new. You want to have an experience that is somehow more or differently engaging you as the player, and I think that there's enough kind of meat here to chew on, and so they do want to do it right, and because Ubisoft is in kind of an interesting place, for multiple reasons, they are being careful, and I, as a fan, appreciate that. Do I think it will be enough? I am unfortunately not too optimistic. I'm kind of like in a place where I'm like, okay, well, let's wait and see. These delays are happening. There's clearly some effort to really do this right, because there has already been so much public discourse on the content of the game, on what it's going to offer, or whether or not it's just another game that's out there already. So yeah, I'm cautious, but I really do hope it wins. I really do.
I'm kind of with both of you. I think that part of it is just people have been asking for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan for as long as Assassin's Creed has been a thing. Correct. So now that they're finally doing it, I would hope that, especially given, like Court said, their string of lackluster games, let's just call them what they are in terms of how they've been perceived and how they've been received. I think they want to make sure that they nail this. Here's my final question for you folks before we kind of move off this news story and back to Court's watch list. How much? Okay, here. If Ghost of Yotei, let's say in January or in February, gets a release date of May or June, right? Like, let's say that the game it's further along than maybe we're expecting. We're kind of anticipating it next year or this year, sorry. But let's say that release date hits and it's within a couple months of Shadows coming out. How much do you think, if at all, that impacts people's buying decision? Because for me personally, if I'm ready to buy Shadows, I'm in. I'm excited about what that is. But if they tell me that Yotei is coming out 2 months later, I might be waiting to picking up Shadows later in the year on Black Friday when I know it's going to be way, 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 way cheaper. How much do you think that could impact the game? Or do you think it doesn't matter?
I think any Ubisoft game, any game releasing around it a month or two later impacts it, because people are like, well, a Ubisoft game goes on sale real quick, right?
True.
And I think not releasing this game in the fall was smart by them, because a lot of times when they release games in the fall, people are like, I'll just wait till Christmas and I'll just get the game for $20. I think Yotei, I don't think it had. Assassin's Creed is a huge, huge franchise. Like, you look at Valhalla, does not review well, and some initially it ended up having decent reviews. It was huge selling. Mirage, people were like, "Oh, they're going back to the roots. It sucks." Huge selling. Assassin's Creed is, to me, a lot like Call of Duty. where there's a
Good point.
lot of Assassin's Creed
True.
bros,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There is that are going to buy this game regardless. I think what pressure Ghost of Yode, it's actually Ghost of Tsushima that has put the pressure on this game. So
Sure.
I personally, as an Assassin's Creed fan, have wanted feudal Japan for years. Okay.
Same.
Ghost of Tsushima came out, and I remember telling you, Matt, I went, well, I don't need that game anymore. I just played it.
Yeah.
And so it has to be better. And every review is going to compare, because Rise of the Ronin was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, it was all right. I Ghost of Tsushima was one of the best games in the last 10 years. And it finally went to a place that everybody was let's be honest, was afraid to make a video game in, because you had to do it right. And they did it so right. It's a masterpiece. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is going up against that. And also Assassin's Creed Shadows is the first game in Infinite. Assassin's Creed Infinite, like this whole new thing.
A whole new thing, yeah.
So there is a poop ton of pressure.
So much pressure.
Way too much pressure on this game. So I think the delay has more of, we need to make sure that it hits a home run with everybody.
Yes.
Which also could burn them. Like, they have play testers all the time. I've been invited to do them. With my job, I just haven't been able to do them in the last couple of years, but they take notes. I even went to their when we went to Ubisoft Montreal, they show how they do it and how they take notes and so on and so forth. And it's fascinating. So them saying they have to go back and adjust, there's not many adjustments you can make in a month and a half to a game that's done.
Fair point. Yeah.
So I think what they might be doing, it could be historical things, because they have people, they told us that with regards to Assassin's Creed games, they have people play it for the gameplay. They also have people play it to try and make sure there's no historical inaccuracies.
It's a thing.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure what they can change in only a month, but it's obviously enough that they're going to do it. It could be, how they were showing us under the wall. It could be this little mechanic that they're like, you know what, we can tweak it. My guess is just tweaking, but my guess is it's just the pressure, because if this hits a home run, they don't have to worry about the whole Tencent thing.
Yeah.
Fair point. Fair point.
And I would go as far as saying that even if it is a home run, depending on when, Yote is released, it could be overshadowed.
Wow. You should be the host now. That was a way better.
That was good. That was real good. I'm real mad at myself right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I'm gonna put you. I'm gonna say this right now. Yote is gonna be amazing, because you can't. You're using the same engine. You're just telling a different story in the world, but you're gonna get so many mouth breeders get mad because it's a female protagonist, and it's gonna be so annoying.
Yep.
And that's all we're gonna hear about.
And it's a huge chunk of the community, man. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's move off of Assassin's Creed and hit a couple other stories.
You were going
back we're back to it. Thank you. Okay, here's my question for you then now, Court. Now that Shadows is gone, we're talking about Red Dead, we're talking about Frozen Wilds, we're talking about the third game was...
No, there was no other third game. I didn't know. Oh, Visions of Mana, but I think I'm just taking it off. I think it will only be between the two.
Yeah, I think you've played Frozen Wilds before, haven't you?
I have.
Go back to Red Dead.
I was just trying to go. I have the platinum, so I was like, I just need the rest of the trophies so that it says 100%.
Right.
Because my question is then, those releases aside, what is next for you? Because Shadows was supposed to be the big one. I know you mentioned that you're excited about Civ, but like, what is the next game on the horizon that you're really looking forward to, that now that it's not Shadows?
Dude, it isn't. So that's why I'm thinking it's time to jump into Red Dead, because that game is going to take me.
You have a few months until Shadows.
Now, my initial issue with Red Dead was the horse.
You get past it.
I hope I do. I really hope I do.
I didn't care for it at first either. You get used to it.
But I'll say this. I am debating on platinuming Star Wars, because let's be honest, it is Uncharted in space.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah.
And it's smaller. So it's not like I have a lot of areas on the map to cover, like an Assassin's Creed Valhalla that makes me just want to cry sometimes.
Oh,
I put 200 hours into that game.
Same, dude.
Like a psycho.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, I think Red Dead. I think Red Dead's the way to go. And then if that doesn't click, you can always go to Frozen.
Well, there's a whole bunch. I looked at PlayStation Plus. Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a statement which will lead into your next story and give you a little segue here. PlayStation Plus is better than Xbox Game Pass.
Boom.
And I went on 3 days of the console. We went game by game by game. By reviews, they have better Metascore, way better. Also, they have way more games, and I'm talking about big games, way more. They do not get day and date, but man, they get some good games. Like it's crazy. I didn't even know half the games are in there. I'm like, oh my god, I could just be here all day.
There you go. Then you have options. I'd say try Red Dead again though, because it really is that good. You have to adjust to it though, because it's a game that will not. It's not a game that will adjust to you. You have to adjust to it, and if you can, you're gonna enjoy it. Let's hit our next story, and I'm going to hop to this one because we have a question about it. Coming from the PlayStation blog themselves, we get a new Midnight Black collection of PS5 accessories coming next month. We're getting the headset and the earphones, a new Black Portal, and a new DualSense as well. The Midnight Black collection is set to come out. Oh, there's a whole. Oh, so it's the console. It's all of the things. Everything's getting a black version. And I think they're all set to come out February 20th. Pre-orders are hitting on January 16th, 10 a.m. Eastern Time US. So make sure you check them out. And I'm going to bring in Nagachaka right away, who writes in saying, what are you guys getting from PlayStation's newest Midnight Black collection? And why is it the stunning PlayStation Portal? Court, my dude, what on this list is tickling your fancy, if anything?
Absolutely nothing. And here's why. I have purple plates on my PS5 that it will never come off because my daughter would kill me. I don't see plates for the PS5 Pro on there. And my big issue is all my controllers are white. Okay. I've sold any other non-white controller that I have. So I would want it all to match. So then I would need the plates and I would need to get all new controllers. And I don't want to invest that kind of money in a cosmetic. I have never been that one that's like, oh, I need that new controller because I got the Spider-Man one because I thought that just looked sick. But I'm usually not a cosmetic guy.
Okay.
Just like I don't buy skins in video games. Matt made me once in Fortnite, and it's the only one I've ever bought.
I didn't make you. I just advocated for it. Bryce, what about you? Anything tickling you?
I want it all, bro.
I want it all.
I want it all because actually my setup in here is mostly black. Actually, the thing,
the opposite of your sister.
Yeah,
because her setup is all white.
Yeah, exactly. So it would match my stuff. I don't know, man. Ever since that PS2, I was like a fan.
All black era thing. Yeah, so I'm about it. I would get everything. Will I? Well, Rebecca, if you're listening, please. Rebecca.
I would want the DualSense Edge in black because that's my favorite controller.
Right.
Do you want to know what? Do you want to know what the one thing that would sell me on any of this, like right away? Because here's the thing. I think this is it's a beautiful line, but we've been hit with so many fantastic controllers and stuff in the last like year or so that I can't justify buying just another black one. I just got a Portal. I'm not going to go and now spend the money to buy another Portal.
Are you using it?
I am.
Okay.
I have been. The only one that I'm halfway considering are the earbuds, because the headset that I'm using when I play online with friends, it causes echo for some people sometimes, and it's not like a PlayStation one. So I'm actually considering the earbuds because then I can also use them with the Portal. Because obviously
that makes sense. That actually makes sense.
Those are the only ones.
Your wife.
So those are the only ones that I'm thinking about. But what would be a slam dunk for me for these controllers is if they actually had the colored buttons. That's what they're missing. They're just
that would be
white.
Sick. Yeah.
They're just white. Yeah. If they had the colored buttons, I'd be in. I could wander over to another edge. I could pick up another controller. If they had the colored buttons and the colored PlayStation logo, I'd be in. And I get the aesthetic. I get it's the Midnight Black collection. But we already have black controllers, I think.
We do.
So what I would want is just the splash of color on the buttons.
Yeah,
that's what I would need. That's what I would need. Because I think it's gorgeous. I just don't think it's enough for me to dive back in.
Nah, you're right.
I also, and I don't want to sound terrible, but we're at the back end of the generation. So why invest more money when I'm going to have to buy a new console in 3 years?
Yep. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's true.
Let's hit some adaptation worlds. I'm going to pull in 2 stories back to back, so hold your thoughts and feelings. Coming from VGC, one of PlayStation's biggest first-party games is getting an anime adaptation. This is written by Jordan Midler. Ghost of Tsushima Legends is receiving an anime adaptation made by some of the Takanobu Mizuno who did the Duel for Star Wars Visions, which was
played on saying that name, by the way.
Gorgeous. So that's it's focused on honestly on the Legends, which was a DLC expansion, so it's not going to be focused on Jin and stuff. It's going to be a different focus. Also, the next story, which we're just going to tie in all together right here, because we're getting 2 more live action films coming from once again from VGC, written by Chris Scullion, based on PlayStation games. Helldivers 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn are both getting movie adaptations.
Shouldn't be a shocker
coming
on
from
Horizon.
PlayStation Plus. But hold on, here is my question though: wasn't this supposed to be an Amazon show? Wasn't Amazon working on Horizon and God of War?
God of War is Amazon.
Well, I thought that was
I thought there was both.
that was more like an anthology though, right? Like or is that what is that? What's that show
I was
called?
positive it was only God of War, and then everybody kept saying, "I'm surprised they're not doing Horizon."
No.
And then,
so Netflix was doing it up until a few months ago.
Netflix was. You said
Netflix. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. Netflix was doing Horizon Zero Dawn show, but that is now dead. So, which is why they are now doing a movie.
Got it.
A movie kind of made they're going all in on Horizon. The fact that they did a Lego game, and I'm going to say this: I like the world of Aloy. I like the games. Heck, I'm the one who went back and played the Rim all the way from the beginning. Like I went back and played it, and I enjoyed my time.
Right.
But I feel like they're investing so much into this IP, and it's not the IP that they think it is. Does that make sense? Like
I'm getting,
I hear you.
I'm getting burnt out on Horizon, and that's wild to say when it's been 2 mainline games and a
the VR was unbelievable.
The VR was fantastic, but I feel like they're really trying to make Horizon their flagship game, and there's a lot of people who really like it. And this is not a slight against Horizon. I just feel, and maybe it's just my own thing. I'm not. I think the games are good. I don't think they're these like megalithic things. I don't put them on the same like plateau as a God of War or as Last of Us. And I'm not sure why a Horizon movie. I'm not going to go out to theaters to see. I'll watch it when it's
Horizon
available
feels
at
like
home.
a TV show.
But but that I disagree with, because the budget would never live up to what that show needs. I'm glad that they're doing a movie because at least the budget can back up the CGI, so on and so forth. But like, I just don't care as much as they want me to care, and I'm already feeling burnt out on a relatively young franchise.
Sure.
Yeah,
Rice, Rice, where are you at on that?
I had a great time with Horizon the first time, you know, and so that's why I hear you. I completely hear you. I think that I maybe wouldn't be as burnt out if Aloy's character, you know, I think that maybe am I a hater by saying that Aloy could have been a little more dynamic for me?
She's a little bland, bro. She's a little white toast.
Yeah.
I watched Rice play Forbidden West. I watched him play on stream a lot,
and I loved playing the game. You know,
yeah, but you almost wanted to stop playing the game.
Oh, totally. Because you know, like what I enjoyed about it is like even just exploring like the different tribes and like their approach on the world and like the lore. And maybe that's just because I'm a lore nerd.
And the central mystery of Zero Dawn is an interesting one. And that hook was enough to keep you going.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Now, you know, if there was, you know, another character that really, you know, grasped onto me, then maybe. But you're right. The burnout is real, and I just don't know if I want more of it.
I will say this. Because I almost feel like we're burying the lead here.
Sure.
They have a chance to make Helldivers 2 the biggest movie of the year. You could do so much with that, and you will have to go offside. And if they're not willing to go offside, that movie is gonna suck.
They have to have a very specific team of writers to put
Ryan
that together
Reynolds
properly.
They got to write it like it's a Deadpool.
Okay, and here I'm going to bring in a question because we got Black Wyver writing in saying of the 3 game adaptations that have been announced by Sony, which one are you the most keen on and why? Court, I still think you're burying the lead because here we have a genuine opportunity for Court to watch anime.
No, it's never gonna happen.
With Ghost of Tsushima, bro?
Yeah,
you're not going to
Legends. I didn't really care for it,
but you're not going to give it a try. You're telling me you're not going to give a Ghost of Tsushima a show? Did you watch Star Wars Visions?
Yeah, I didn't like it. And I like Star Wars. I also
all of the episodes you didn't like any.
I also didn't like Castlevania.
But Visions was was an anthology. You didn't like any of them. The Duel was incredible.
I stopped watching after the first episode.
Okay,
so you're just not a fan. Like, what is it about that you don't enjoy? Or
I am not a. Okay, there's anime. Like it's all the same to me. And
okay,
whether
so anything animated.
But I like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think that is phenomenal.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know what it is. I keep trying it. It's almost like a Final Fantasy game. I just can't. I don't know, man. I'll give it. You know what, Matt? Hey. I will watch.
Denny in the chat. I'm with Court. I have a hard time getting into Castlevania,
and I loved Castlevania. I also had the way they did X-Men '97. They were lucky I had my nostalgia because they kind of animated that up a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I will say this. DC does their Batman movies. I would almost classify them as anime.
Well, they straight up had that like when Batman Samurai one.
But they do so many other ones. They have like so many, and they're very similar art style. I think anime is just an art style.
Yeah.
I will give it a go, but I'll tell you this right now. It's gonna have subtitles, and I'm not gonna watch it.
Oh,
but you're okay. But I'm sure they're gonna have a dub. I'm sure they're gonna have a dub.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I'm sure
they have to have a dub.
Because I will bet you, right? A pizza bet. It is subtitles.
Sure, but there's also going to be a dub that's entirely English voiced. I bet pizza bet right now, day and date, there's going to be a dub.
Okay.
No doubt in my mind.
But I think Helldivers 2 has the chance to be like a Deadpool.
Do you know what I want?
It could be amazing.
Do you know what I want from a Helldivers 2? Because I feel like I've never seen the movie, but I know from what I've seen online, they're going to be there's going to be a lot
movie yet.
No. Let me finish. There's going to be a lot of comparisons to Starship Troopers. I feel like again for I think the older generations. A lot of younger generations don't know what that movie is. But you know what I want from a Helldivers 2? I want like a workplace style comedy. Like give me like the Office, but like Helldivers. Like I want them like on planet and like one of them's doing like an interview with the camera and there's people in the background running around like trying to fight the aliens and stuff.
Amazing.
Like I want this like weird mockumentary type vibe for Helldivers 2. I don't want them to go like full hoo-ha action movie because I think there's a really clever way that they could do that. That would be a lot of fun and still have.
I agree, but I that sounds great. It does.
Pay me.
I also had an idea. So you take the original cast of Starship Troopers at the very beginning of Helldivers 2. It's them on planet and they're Helldivers and they're getting out of their pods, and you kill them within seconds. All of them. And that's how you get to your title screen. Helldivers 2 has the chance to be the cameo movie of all time. And you kill these mothers all the time. Huge actor drops down when they're there and they're like, oh my God, like it's Arnold Schwarzenegger getting out of the pod. And he gets killed by his own teammate.
Yeah, another dropship. Exactly.
It's just like and I have a chance. They have a chance. I like your idea, Matt, but I think they have a chance to make this movie like Tropic Thunder almost.
That's outrageous.
That's the same, yes.
Okay. I also want them to just call it Helldivers 2. I don't want them to just call it Helldivers. I want them to call it Helldivers 2 because it just works.
Yes, I agree.
Works.
It is Deadpool, right? So like I think they could do a Tropic Thunder with this and they could have something special. But I would literally walk up to whoever like wrote Deadpool 2 with Ryan Reynolds and be like, all right, so can you do a Helldivers 2 movie?
I think Helldivers 2 is either going to be fantastic or not at all. I don't think it's going to be anything in between.
Yeah,
I think it has potential.
You have a chance because like so many people die so easily. You have a chance to do funny deaths with very famous people. Go for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So what of the three are you most keen on? Because like I'm most excited for Ghosts, but I'm also very cautiously optimistic about Helldivers.
Yeah. I have an affinity to samurai animes, so I'm right. I'm all over Ghost just for no reason. As someone who loves who just loves swords in
Yeah.
general. I'm all over that for sure. So I mean, that was an easy answer for me, but I mean, as you guys are talking about Helldivers right now, there's so much potential for engagement, and it's kind of like it's a really big canvas too. You know, they don't really have to kind of stick to one thing. There is creative freedom there. So I think that you're right that people are either going to love or hate it, but they do have a lot of room to play with there. So.
Agreed. Rice, sidebar. Can we go sword shopping together one day? I just feel like it's something that'll be fun. I just think it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Anything sword related, I'm there.
We'll both get in so much trouble for whatever we buy or don't buy after, but it'll be worth it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Cool.
Like, you know how people have, you know, maybe a little bit too many firearms in their house? Well, I probably have too many sharp things.
I will say this, Rice, don't do it. Matt has he spends money. He is reckless when it comes to buying things. I'm going to say it, Matt. I'm sorry. Your wife doesn't listen, so we're good. I have been to Fan Expo with Matt. I have been places with Matt. Matt sees something shiny and he spends money on it.
Hold on. Both times we've been to Fan Expo together, the only thing that I bought was art. Was the same art that
does it, Matt? That's the amount of times you send me a text with something shiny in your front seat of your car. Don't. Don't.
Anyways,
you buy shinies. Matt sees a shiny and he buys.
I hyperfixate, okay, and then if I don't get it,
he always says. You know what he also says? What about like if I don't buy it the first time and then I'm going to regret it later, so I might as well buy it the first time.
Yeah. Life's too short.
I get that rhetoric.
Yeah,
you could die. You could die
because I am the king of like I see something and Matt's like buy it. I'm like no, and Matt's like why? I'm like no. And
dude,
he almost wants the dopamine hit of me buying it.
I do. I get like a sick sensation. The
day I bought the PS5 Pro,
I felt good.
We talked on the phone way too much that day.
I was almost more excited about him getting it than me getting it myself.
I was driving around the like to GameStops to get this thing.
It was good. Let's hit our major story before we round out with a couple more questions. I'm going to, again, pull in two stories back to back here. The other stories we'll save for next week. Coming from VGC, written by Jordan Midler, Nintendo Switch 2 and PS5. PS5 is reportedly getting two major Xbox games, including Halo. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and Halo the Master Chief Collection are both coming to Nintendo Switch 2 and PS5. It's been claimed, according to Nate the Hate, a podcaster with a history of correctly reporting on unreleased video games. Both games are planned for the system as Microsoft plans to heavily support the Nintendo Switch 2, both coming to also the PS5. And then I'm actually going to bring in a second story right away because...
Or Jez Corden's tweet of like, it is all true.
Coming from Andy Robinson, more Xbox franchises, including Gears of War, will come to PS5 this year. Like we said, Nate the Hate put out the story, and then Jez Corden basically went on to corroborate, basically saying there's even more coming. Gears of War is apparently planned to be on the way. Hellblade 2, Age of Mythology, and potentially Gears of War Ultimate Edition are all slated to release on PS5 this year. So
he pretty much said on Twitter the other day that the Xbox Developer Direct, PlayStation fans should be definitely watching it.
I'll be there, man.
Like we're just gonna be like boom, 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 just dropping games on PlayStation people. And good on Microsoft for this.
Yeah,
because guess what? They had something very good with the Xbox coming out the gate. I bought one. I thought the Xbox Series X was smart, great console, and then they poo-pooed all over it again. They're poo-pooing again. They've been stretching their wallet to do other things. Totally makes sense, but they realize that they don't have the install base on their console or even through Game Pass to support it. PlayStation keeps eating their lunch over and over and over and over again. And now PlayStation players will buy Halo and Gears of War in droves. And you know what's going to happen with the online play? The game's going to get popular again.
It is.
So let me ask you about this. Which one of these are you a day one on? Because for me, Gears of War and Halo Master Chief Collection, I will be there day and date. Like
because we want the platinums. Because
I don't care.
Listen,
I'm not a trophy dude. Dude, I can't even tell you when the last
platinum for Halo 1. It's easy.
No,
nostalgia is the seller for me here.
Yeah,
and fully just including people who may not even have played this before. I have people in my community that have like just stayed PlayStation, and they game off of one console, right? And so like they're just not familiar with the IP. Oh shit, Master Chief, sorry.
Oh, Master Chief.
I have that too. It's sitting in it. It didn't even go on the tree this year. Kid didn't want it. She's like, we don't have an Xbox, Daddy. I'm like, yeah.
But those games, man, those bring like very core memories back. So I'll be there day one.
Denny in the chat, Gears of War would be great to revisit. I miss Horde mode. Dude, I think Court's spot on. I think the multiplayer would explode.
Yep.
If these things hit things. Here's my follow-up question to you, both then. Which of these will come to PlayStation Plus day and date, if any? Because I have a thing in the back of my mind that Hellblade 2 might hit PlayStation Plus right away.
I'm agreeing with you on Hellblade 2.
I don't know why. It just feels
either that, or if this sounds crazy, I know. Master Chief Collection they'll make you pay for
100%.
Yes.
But Halo Infinite, not necessarily true.
True.
You want to jumpstart that install base and get people buying Master Chief Collection when it comes out. Give them Halo Infinite first.
Yeah, get them in that multiplayer.
Yep, I agree, because the progression system in is garbage, but the gameplay is fantastic. Progression system, garbage, absolute doo-doo.
Yes,
but the gameplay, top S tier. So that's the issue with that game. But I, as a stop playing Xbox person, I am excited for Indiana Jones. I now know that anytime I watch, like, I'm gonna get to play Fable because Jez Corden also he put that on the list. I'm gonna get to play the new Fable on my PlayStation 5, and he is pretty much saying, Jez Corden said most games, but he thinks Fable is going to be day and date on PS5 now.
See, that series is the one that I've always been so curious about and I've never played. So for all of the Xbox games that even haven't been touched on yet, I would love to see like the original the original 3 Fables come back in some sort of remastered edition on PS5. Like I would dive in.
Such a big double dip here. You're going to get the people that have the 2 console systems that have already played on the Xbox. That if Xbox is smart here, they're going to do a staggered release of all the new games when they drop. But you can re-release Halo, Gears, all the old Fables, all those games, sell them to the PlayStation people as collector's editions that you get all the stuff. And people will play those in anticipation to play the game when it comes out 6 months later on the PlayStation, and they can bridge the gap. And you're going to even get those Xbox people who say, well, I've already got all the achievements on Xbox. Well, I need them on my PlayStation. So you're going to get that double. You're going to get Nintendo money, Xbox. You know how Nintendo double dips on everything over and over again? Now Xbox can do it because no one's playing it on their Xbox because no one plays that thing. That is a dust collector in most people's homes.
Chris Azer writes in saying, would you rather see Halo used collaboratively or have the entire library ported over to PlayStation? Helldivers 2 would honestly be the perfect vehicle to shepherd Halo onto the PS5 platform, ODST in particular. I personally want all of it. Like, if you're going to give me costumes, I'm down, but I want the main games. I want the games.
But they can't. So I want all I think we'll get all the Xbox games. PlayStation will. They can't put the only reason they can't put Helldivers 2 on is because they've now locked it behind the PSN. So even when you play it on the PC, you have to have a PlayStation account.
Yeah, but he's saying like Halo skins in Helldivers.
Oh, like aesthetic collaboration.
It's just easy money stuff. Yeah. But I think there is no such thing as an Xbox exclusive game anymore.
No.
I don't think it exists.
No.
I think it's over. And I think we're going to hear about that on the 29th.
Yep.
Let me ask you one.
You get Pokemon and a PlayStation / Xbox Direct on the same day.
Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah, I'm talking about the card game.
Yeah. Pokemon Presents will be in February.
Oh, we also get that new set coming out. Did you see that? I saw the trailer for that.
Let me ask you guys this really quick before we go to our last question, because I'm just curious. Do you think there's a chance, talking about how the Xbox exclusive is dead, do you think that there is a chance that we see Game Pass land on the Switch too? Because I don't think there's ever a prayer that it will ever come to PlayStation. I think.
See, I disagree with you there.
So you think that there's a chance that Game Pass could hit PlayStation and the Switch too?
Yes.
Interesting.
I could see it on the Switch too.
PlayStation gets paid; they don't give up.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what that'll turn into? An EA Play type thing. Then Xbox no longer has to put. It sounds terrible, but for you Xbox players, you're about to get. I really, really, truly believe Xbox players are about to get shafted hard, especially when you look at the new games that come to Game Pass now. You look at the list, you're like, it's games with gold all over again. It looks like shovelware. So, and like the games are really bad, right?
Right.
So I almost think they could go on the route of Game Pass is only their library. Like that's
Okay.
what you'll get on PlayStation. So they'll be like, okay,
I see, like a Game Pass Lite kind of
yeah,
thing,
so
and
got
it's
it.
it's the same thing Ubisoft Plus. So you get a different one. You can't get the full version now, but like I would think they would say, here's what you can have for PlayStation people. You can have the Xbox library on the PlayStation and the Switch too, and you have to pay a monthly fee for it.
That is not a bad idea. I
Not
think that
all,
would be
you don't get all of Game Pass. You just get these games.
the first party. The first party.
Yes.
That is a much more interesting idea because I don't think they would ever have the full library to compete with PlayStation Plus,
Nope.
but maybe some sort of core Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the people listening, next time, check out the games that are on PlayStation Plus, which are also tons of family friendly. So as a dad, it's great. And compare them to Game Pass. And you'd be surprised how much better PlayStation Plus is than Game Pass now. It's unbelievably better.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Dude, unreal right now.
Good stuff.
I'm really, really kind of I can't stop thinking about that idea, Court. I think that's a really interesting one.
Yeah, you don't get the rest of the Game Pass. You just get the EA Play type
first
thing.
party.
Hey,
yeah, the first party.
You get the first party games.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and it makes sense for PlayStation. They don't care. They're getting Sony just was like, pay me money. So anytime someone buys this, he's paying me money. Okay. Pay me money. Pay me more money. So every single monthly subscription on that is just an extra double dip for PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because they're getting
Sony's
a
doing
percentage
this
of it
right now
every month because you bought it through PSN. You're paying through. They would be smart and making you pay through the PSN for your subscription. Just like they do EA Play. If I get EA Play, I'm paying through the PSN. If I want Xbox Game Pass, I'm paying through PSN. So they get their money. They don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit one last question before we round out the show. Edward Varnell at the Boss Rush Network at that Retro Code writes in saying, do you feel that the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 5 Pro is the system to have a digital-only library? In contrast, do you think the Nintendo Switch and maybe future Nintendo systems are the best consoles to have physical and digital? Are retail stores like Target and Best Buy evidence for your answer? I think that the PS5 Pro, I mean, it has to only be digital, but I do think the PS5 is the place where, I think a lot of people are mostly, if not entirely, digital. I know I am now. I know Court's been for a long time. The majority of the only time I ever buy physical games or used to buy physical games was if I knew I was going to be trading that back in. I'm not somebody that like has a big physical collection. I don't replay games. So for me to double dip and hold on to it and then to come back to it later, I'll buy one, once in a while if it's something I really care about. But I do think that the PS5 Pro and the PS5 is the kind of digital library console, and I think it does.
I think
that
this generation totally is. I think physical like
totally.
I think even when I'll use Halo Infinite as the example. If you remember when the data miners went on the disc and they were like, "There's nothing on this thing," and now most games, physical games that we get sold, there's nothing on the disc. It's turned into what PC. They stopped making physical games for PC because they were just giving you a CD key. That's all they give you now when they give you a physical game. Because if the online isn't working, you can't download the game. There's nothing on the disc. But I want to go back to what Matt said about his trading in. Rice, there was one time, and I think it was almost like 2 years ago, Matt had it lined up to finish the games and get them in on that time so he could return them in the 7-day span and get to what was it, Baldur's Gate was the final game, was like the final boss. How you played 2 other games and then got to Baldur's Gate, and you only had to buy 1 game because you could trade him in that much. He was able to only buy 1 game.
Hilarious.
It was impressive.
I love it.
I think it was Baldur's Gate. I can't remember what it was. It was somehow Matt played 1 game.
I played Dead Space, returned it for something else. I do know what you're talking about. I can't remember exactly what the thing was.
Yeah, and he got all 3 of them, and then got to his final game that he actually wanted. He only had to buy 1. It was impressive.
Wow.
I do
so Chris Zeiser is saying like I love physical games. I'm sorry, Matt. Were you gonna say something?
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I do have friends that have a very fond love for collecting. People do have this kind of mentality of collecting physical games and having that gives them comfort or clout or whatever it is. I'm not a person that has collected video games, physical games, or really cared that much. Maybe it's because I used to have poor time management. I'm only now like in a place in my life where I'm managing time actually a lot better now. But that said, like having games digitally or having a license to go look at a database is much more attractive to me than owning the game itself, if that makes sense.
100%. And I think for me, it was like, especially growing up, where we didn't have a ton of money, and it was a lot of like the games that I played were renting through a Blockbuster, or the games that I did buy. Again, I was trading things in constantly to get to the next thing because that was the way that I could
Right,
buy new games. Otherwise, I'd be waiting for a while because we just couldn't afford it as a family.
right.
I do think Ed's point to the Nintendo ecosystem as a whole, I'll say Switch 2 the thing. I do think they are still the one that has the most shelf buying
because
power.
they're cartridges. They're smart.
They're cartridges, but
Right.
also the Nintendo is still such a like even to like older folks, like much older than Court, like going into
No,
a
I
store.
literally bought the original Nintendo when it was released.
That's what I mean, right? Like,
I'm old enough, dude. It's behind me. It's literally on a
I check
shelf
it.
right there.
But I mean, like for
I
folks who are
had it
going in and
too.
looking to buy a video game
Like, I
for
bought it
a
when it released.
But, like, for folks who are going to, like, buy a video game for a child or a loved one, then, like, going and looking at, "Here's the Nintendo games, here's Mario," like, that still has
Sure.
buying power in store.
Because Nintendo considers themselves a toy company. They do not consider themselves a
Exactly.
video game company,
Yep.
and toy
Correct.
companies kill off something to make you buy it again. So, and I
Yeah.
use
Mhm.
Transformers and G.I. Joe as perfect examples. The reason in Transformers the movie they killed Optimus Prime, which didn't go over well, is so they could make people go out and buy the new toy line. They
Mhm.
literally brought out movies for G.I. Joe and Transformers to kill off the existing toy line to be like, here's your new toy line. What they
Yeah.
didn't know is you didn't need to do that. So the toy makers at the time were like, you need to kill off, and so we can have this new thing, so then everybody buys it. They didn't realize, and this is the 80s, is when they first found the dopamine hit for everybody. They're like, we don't need to get rid of the old. We like
Mhm.
the old. Give us the new. We'll buy the
Yeah.
new and the old.
Mhm.
So what they did is
Right.
they brought Optimus Prime back to life. Nintendo, what they have done is they said everybody else went to discs and all that. They tried it on the GameCube, and then they realized the sales weren't as high. And then they brought out the Wii, and they realized everybody was just buying non-physical games for the Wii. And Nintendo was
Right.
like, "How do we go back?" Because everybody's buying the amiibos, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Wait a second,
Yeah.
everybody's buying these. How do we get people to buy these things again?" And they were like, "We need to go back to cartridges."
Well, the
It
thing
was the
is,
smartest thing they have
Mm.
done.
it's
They went
Right.
back to cartridges, and now people are buying them again.
well, they also do the thing where they want you to be buying 2 of them. You know what I mean? If
Agreed.
as like as a PS5 owner, like usually you have one in the house and that's what it is. If you have multiple kids, each one of them needs to have a Game Boy Advance.
True.
Either one of them needed a SP. Now every one of them needs a
Yep.
Switch. It's why Pokemon still releases in 2 editions. They want you to be buying multiple of the same, like you
Yep.
said. So
Right.
I think at 100%. Nintendo still has the most buying power in store, and I think they'll always cater to that because they still have the biggest shelf appeal
If
to
it
the
wasn't for
masses.
Nintendo, GameStop would be done.
I don't think that's
Mm.
wrong. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
GameStop is weird now. It's just Nintendo and Pokemon
Yep.
and
Straight up.
toys.
Yes.
But good question, Edward. I like that one a lot. I'm just
It was
gonna
a good
shout out
question.
Jaden Rose in the chat. I played 10 games last year on PS Plus catalog platinum date as a trophy hunter and a backlog gamer. Definitely worth the year's subscription for me. There you go.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's good.
really I'm Matt and I when PlayStation Plus first came out, Matt and I were very critical of it, and I think
Mhm.
we had a good reason to. Um, I have found myself over and over again downloading games from PlayStation Plus.
Sorry, I messed that up so bad. I went to go mute and I instead unmuted and coughed right into the
That's all
mic.
right.
He's so confident. It's just I don't care. It's just the way that you were confidently were like,
I know, I know. And then I saw you react. I'm like, oh, I fucked that up.
oh, that was so good. But yeah, Jaden, that's the glory of PlayStation Plus. And like Court said, we used to be much more critical of it. It's gotten a lot better.
I
And
even like
Yeah.
I even like the premium tier because they put in all those all the Ratchet game like all Dax. They put so many good classic games and they put trophy support on it, and that's what they needed to do. And that was something Matt said at the beginning. He was like, "You're not even giving us the games we want." Like
Mhm,
when the Sly Coop collection wasn't on there, we're like, "What are you doing?"
Also,
mhm,
streaming is as massively improved.
mhm.
And if they
Since
don't remaster the infamous games to give us new trophies again and make it look prettier, I'm gonna freaking lose it.
Dude, the fact that the Portal works as well as it does, when I remember trying to use their PlayStation Now service, and it was hot garbage. And now
one?
Yeah.
And even now that the Portal works as well as it does, it's just wild to me. But that brings us to the end of the episode, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and spending all of your hard-earned time with the three of us lovely individuals. And if you wanted to spend even more time with these lovely folks, Rice, where could people do that?
Absolutely. You can find me on my Linktree /Rice BOYYY TV.
Boy.
Follow me on my socials. We'll be streaming a lot more very soon. Very soon. So
yeah, Borderlands people.
Yeah, a lot of Borderlands right off the top. But yeah, it'll be fun. Come chat.
Go find Rice in all the places in court. If people wanted to see more of you, where could they do so?
I might be shirtless. I don't know how enticing that is for you, but
Locked in. Court, where can people find you?
You can find me on socials at Court Lalonde all over the place, and every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. on 3 Dads and a Console.
There you go. Go find Court in all the places. You can find me, of course, here each and every week. Go check out my bylines over at Console Creatures and butwhythough.net. We'll be back next week, folks. Everybody stay well, stay safe, and we will see you guys very, very soon. Peace and love, y'all. Peace.
Bye.